funny thing, climbing. I mean, hate it and love it. It's given me everything, and it's taken a lot away.
Oh, Jesus.
95% of the time, you're failing. That's the point. It's focusing on what you can try differently next time that matters. Trying to turn mistakes into something much better. Turning mistakes into gold.
If you tell him how strong he is, you know, he'll shrug it off and tell me to shut up. Poor old Gus, he's been through a lot. No one deserves what he's been through.
He kind of blames everything that's happened on himself, which is entirely untrue. But you can never convince him of that.
Breaking news for you, a rock clunk accident in the Blue Mountains.
When he was rock climbing with a friend off Sublime Point Road, when he was struck...
Where I was not a healthy headspace. I didn't feel like I deserved to be around. Self-forgiveness is, that's the end goal.
He was always a climber. When he was a kid, he'd walk along the top of a timber fence and just balance along the top of the fence, you know, at 4 or 5 years old.
Before climbing, music was definitely my first obsession. Dad was in a band, and when he quit that, we landed in Parks, you know, small country town.
Both my daughter, Chelsea, and Angus wouldn't talk to me. They were really cranky with me because why did I take them from Sydney, away from all their friends and all that?
I think Dad was worried that, you know, it wasn't working out sort of thing. I came home one day and there was a drum kit in the house. Yeah, my eyes lit up.
We were so excited. You know, there's a few blokes from Parks started playing music together in high school, and all of a sudden we got this fancy label from Sydney, this fancy studio wanting to record our music.
That's pretty much the birth story of Bears with Guns. Things just really started to snowball. Crowds got bigger and bigger, and then we ended up doing a couple of national tours.
Such a good ride. It was so much fun.
I met Gus in my first year of my music degree, and I went to a few of his gigs, and we ended up hanging out a lot, and then we're obsessed with each other very quickly.
It was amazing, like I was head over heels. We were together for about 5 years before I proposed. The wedding was brilliant, and everything was, you know, rainbows and unicorns, really. But I think, you know, we were young. We were young.
I developed a fairly brutal case of bulimia, which led to some really strange thought patterns and choices. I ended up at a point getting suddenly like quite a bit of attention from a third person, and we did eventually end up having a kiss. Didn't go any further than that, contrary to popular belief. But there was absolutely an emotional component going on.
It hit me like a ton of bricks, basically. For some reason, I just couldn't move past it. I split with Rosie, and I made the call to leave the band, which was certainly hard news to break to my best mates. But yeah, I needed to find north on the compass again.
I have said that I married a drummer and divorced a climber, because by the time we were done, I mean, particularly after we broke up, he really dove into climbing a lot.
I had a job in a climbing shop. Every weekend was getting in the car and just climbing. And it sounds ridiculous saying this, but I needed something to hold on to.
How's it going? Good to see ya.
Angus is an insanely good climber. I'm not saying he makes it look easy, but kind of makes it look easy sometimes. And there's both like an intensity and this like calmness.
So in 2016, I moved up here to the Blue Mountains on a Saturday morning and be like, I'm in paradise. My climbing really sort of went in leaps and bounds. Started dreaming about going somewhere in the world and just doing nothing but climbing every single day, which is where the US trip came into focus. There's this crack climbing mecca there called Indian Creek. It's like this size crack from bottom to top in a straight line. It's just remarkable. And so I saved up all my money, headed over to the US, and just spent 8 weeks being an absolute dirtbag.
That thing. Going up there. Fuck yeah.
That dirtbag life is something widely revered amongst climbers. Just hit the road and dedicate everything to climbing.
Old tagline. I'm gonna walk around and then do Monster Tower.
You can see the stoke from here. That's what we're going up. Yeah, guys. We decided to go to a place called Joshua Tree. Very much one of the birthplaces of hard climbing in the US. And one of these boulders really sort of struck me.
The White Rastafarian, which is a 5 metre tall boulder somewhere in that vicinity. Gus would have a go, and then I'd go, and I'd go one move higher than him, and then he'd go one move higher than me. Got to a point where I said, you know what, that's enough for me for today. We decided that I would stand off to the side and take photos.
I just had this gut feeling. It just wasn't good. But am I just scared because I'm scared? Or is there a good reason to be scared?
Angus's fall was very much out of control. It took me a couple of seconds to realise that the screams I was hearing from Angus weren't frustration. They were pain, fear, injury.
My leg was spaghetti. I was in a lot of pain. The bones had completely shattered. They'd come out of my leg.
Once Angus made it back to Australia, it was heartbreaking. One day he'd get good news saying that, hey, it looks like your bones are fusing again. And then a week later, they'd say, oh, no, actually, sorry, it's not. We're going to have to do another surgery.
11 operations in 3 years. Major reconstructive efforts to save his leg. You know, taking bone graft from his femur, bone graft from his hip. Big surgery.
Ready, set, go. No hands.
In and out of surgery, you can't hold down a job. I couldn't bear with the pain anymore. It was affecting my mental health. I was low, really low. And amputation was really the only thing left on the table.
It was a horrible 3 years, actually. Angus was ready. He really was ready. It just wasn't working. It had to go.
I remember vividly the anaesthetic bay before I was about to remove Gus's leg. I just remember saying, Gus, be nervous, mate, but don't be afraid. This is the first day of the rest of your life. He woke up in recovery and it was like he was a different person.
It all happened really quickly. I was at the prosthetist and, you know, getting sized up for a leg.
Yeah, so, we're going to do a bit of walking. All right, you ready?
It was maybe a month where I had my first steps in the new leg, and it hurt to high heavens, but
Is it like that?
yeah, the body just, it's amazing what the body gets used to. Doesn't take much time, and next minute you're just walking. It was an amazing feeling.
The climbing world is one that brings people together. It's really a giving and caring community that I think has really helped Angus find his way back.
They were the net, you know, that I fell into. They'd all chipped in for this climbing leg, extra pairs of shoes for it, and just reinforces how beautiful the climbing community is. When I'm not climbing, you know, I obviously have a job. I have to work like the rest of us. The space that I work in is carbon management and energy. Life starts taking on a much more normal shape at this point, and we all decided that we were going to go to see this gig at the Enmore Theatre. The crowd was wild. I'm in the mosh with my prosthetic and really having a time, and yeah, my leg was off at one point, and I was looking down for my leg and I was like, oh my God, where did it go? It just started sailing across everyone's heads. It was like a beach ball at a festival or something, but it was my leg. So gross. It's so gross. Yeah, kind of the moment that I realized things were fun again. I'm in my mid-30s, moving on from the accident, from the divorce, you know, getting back into music again. This house, this share house with the guys was just sort of the center of the universe at the time, and a lot of good times there, making memories. Part of that was finding and meeting Richard Mills, or Millsy, and yeah, I mean, legend of legends.
He's well known as the barefooted, larrikin, tall, lanky, slinking bass player. Really chill, easy to get along with New Zealand bloke.
So Millsy was on a few television ads. He was a handsome bastard.
He was just always bringing the fun. and the stoke, and yeah, psyched as forever. Millsy. He'd been hassling me. Hey mate, how are ya? Can we go climbing? So I thought, okay, well, what is the best single day climbing experience for someone who's never been climbing outdoors? And there's this extraordinarily beautiful climb, aptly named Sweet Dreams.
Rich FaceTimed us on the Friday before the rock climb. He sent a couple of pictures to my phone of Sweet Dreams, the rock face, and we thought, holy heck.
First ever fucking rock climb, mate.
I'm on the edge of a fucking cliff in a mountain. Yeah, probably about it.
It's arguably one of the safest routes in the Blue Mountains. You'll be able to get people up this rock climb who have never spent a day on rock in their lives.
Before we headed up that day, you know, I was showing Millsy how to use the ropes and how to belay, and I remember saying to him, you know, whatever happens, like if a bee comes along and stings you on the face, just don't let go of the rope.
You! There's this geezer over there.
We started up the climb, and he was having so much fun. The smile on his face was like priceless.
Well done, I'd say, mate. Well done. Good innings.
Hey, mate. We were halfway there. We'll wait till the end, eh? Let's wait till the end.
I start climbing up the gully. The rock under my feet, it just gave way. I called out, screamed, rock.
Rich saw the rock coming and he tried to avoid the rock, so he leaned forward and it smacked him on his back, which was a 30-centimetre rock, and it just shattered on his back.
When I got to him, he was kind of conscious, unconscious, sort of somewhere between the two. And, you know, he was not in a good way. But the bastard was still holding the rope. Sort of leant down to give him a hug and just said, I'm so sorry. And he looked at me and he said, it's cool. He said, it's cool, man. And just smiled. And that was the last thing he said.
We're so grateful that he was there holding his hand and looking after him.
Breaking news for you, a rock climber has died in a freak accident in the Blue Mountains.
The team managed to abseil down a cliff face to get to the man who was resting on a ledge, but although he was treated at the scene, he died during the operation this afternoon.
The idea of a rock breaking on Sweet Dreams, causing the injuries that it did, is just like you wouldn't think that was possible in your wildest dreams.
I went into a hole. I went into a very deep hole. And I didn't want to come out. I didn't feel like I deserved to be around.
super worried about Gus during the whole time. Like, none of us knew what to do. No one knows what to do.
Millsy's folks were in touch with my mum because I wasn't really I didn't really feel like I could talk to anyone. They came over here from NZ and they took on the role of Millsy. And they brought everyone together and helped everyone heal together. It's bloody good to see you guys. Yeah, I'm all right. They're going through the hardest time you can possibly imagine. As a parent, losing your child, you know, and there they are trying to put a hand out and see if I'm doing okay, you know. It's that bit of grey wall. Okay. So Sweet Dreams is
that one.
just left. Just a little touch left.
And it's just a question I've always wanted to ask you, you know, sometimes just having the chance to show you the photo, you know.
So is that the exit 16?
That's the exit here through this gully.
I've always just wondered exactly where the position of the climb was. You know, I know it's silly sort of detail, but as a parent, it's just nice to know where it all happened.
Last time we played was at Millsy's graduation when we came here. Did you ever have a game of pool with Dickie here?
I don't think I did.
Millsy?
No.
Poor old Gus, I mean, he probably didn't know what to expect from us as a family.
We didn't ever think it was Gus's fault. We knew it was a freak accident and yeah, we didn't want him to feel any blame for it.
It is something I found hard to accept. It just almost seems too gracious. I just feel like I'm at the center of the most painful moment of their lives, you know? And that's it's hard to sit with.
If Millsy hadn't have been doing his job properly, Gus would have died as well.
And that's just rich to the end.
I completely burned the idea of climbing. It revolted me just thinking about it. But there was a conflicting voice, which is basically Millsy telling me to get on with it. Being in a hole wasn't what he wanted. It's not how he would have lived his life. If anything, he was the image of the complete opposite, squeezing the lemon. And I felt like I was dishonouring that.
Angus is resilient. Over the course of maybe 6 months or so, and with a lot of encouragement from the climbing community and therapy and whatever else that he needed to do, that eventually got him back.
I really felt sick in the anticipation of doing it. And then the moment I pulled on, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like a weight had lifted and I just felt like me. It was like reconnecting with myself. It was like plugging in the lamp. Climbing has this way of molding itself into the thing I've needed at the time. completely taken by surprise that I was approached for the national paraclimbing team. I was all for it.
So using the holds directionally, if we get our left foot up and push our left knee all the way over, that position is almost effortless. Tonight is really all about trying to raise money for the paraclimbing team to get them over to the World Cup. Have you ever climbed before?
Before this I have.
Yeah, okay.
Taking up competitive climbing seems like it's been hugely helpful for Gus. It's given him a goal, something to work towards, and something to focus that energy on.
I mean, it's going to feel really physical, but...
I think it's so great that he's carrying on with his passion in life, basically. So we're all 100% behind him, eh?
And see what happens if you really try and rock your weight over your left knee.
Just watching him cope in the way that he does, I really admire how he just seems to appreciate the beauty of painful things as well as beautiful things.
So we'll get you nice and close.
Climbing doesn't just teach you the things necessary to get to the top of a climb.
All right, so I'll clip you in.
It's taught me how to push through,
That's it. Yes.
how to deal with failure, how to grow, and how to improve. Yeah, I mean, climbing is the best teacher I've had.
How's that? That was actually so rad.